Hello, Oilers fans. Austin here with just a quick news slash lineup update for the Edmonton Oilers as they head into St. Louis tomorrow for a matchup against the St. Louis Blues, going up against Dylan Holloway and Philip Broberg, the former Oilers. Lots of discourse surrounding whether the Oilers should have matched those offer sheets or not. But at practice today, everyone was accounted for. We know that there has been a flu bug going around that locker room, so it's nice to see that pretty much everyone is back on the ice, skating, ready to go. And it sounds like Matthias Ekholm is going to be good to go tomorrow against St. Louis after he missed the game against the Toronto Maple Leafs on Saturday. So we're going to take a look at the lineups that Chris Knoblauch has running. Obviously, there's going to be some interesting narratives going on because he does have McDavid and Draisaitl still loaded up. If you end up enjoying this video today, make sure to smash the like button. And if you really like it and want to see more, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're not yet subscribed. As we climb our way to 5,000 subscribers, I have something very special planned for that. Probably huge giveaway and extra goodies planned because that's going to be an exciting milestone to hit for this channel as we get ready for the playoffs. I know it's only February. I know there's still a Four Nations tournament to go on, and there's lots of things that can happen before the postseason. So we don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. But the Oilers, they put themselves in a good spot right now. They are first place in the Pacific Division with the game in hand on Vegas. They are tied for first, I should say, not outright first. But as long as Edmonton takes care of business in St. Louis, takes care of that game in hand, they're in good shape. The Vegas Golden Knights just keep losing for some reason. It seems like nobody in the Pacific, it's like Edmonton tied Vegas for first in the Pacific, and now nobody wants to hang on to it for more than a day or two. And the LA Kings as well, they've been really spiraling. I know they won their most recent game, but before that, they'd only won 2 of their last 10, and they had been spiraling a whole bunch. The Pacific Division right now, really struggling. And for the Edmonton Oilers, they're still doing very well, in my opinion. They have lost 2 straight. Games that were winnable, especially against Toronto, where, with how many chances Edmonton had and the shots, you would have liked to see a better outcome. But let's take a look at the new look lineups for the Edmonton Oilers and discuss them as they head into St. Louis tomorrow. So at practice today, you had Draisaitl with McDavid and Corey Perry. Now, a lot of people not happy about that. I totally understand. I'm someone that still wants Draisaitl and McDavid separated on their own lines, but I was kind of thinking about why they get loaded up. And obviously, the team right now struggling to get tons of goals. They still scored 2 or 3 per game, but we haven't seen the Oilers really break out offensively in a while, and I think their shooting percentage is pretty low at the moment over the last few games. I think they're in a PDO slump. Of course, PDO is shooting percentage plus save percentage, and obviously their shooting percentage is lower, their save percentage is lower the last couple of games, so they are due to break out offensively. But the other thing that happens when Draisaitl and McDavid are loaded up is that they only get loaded if one of them is not 100%, and it's to kind of shelter the other. We saw this in the postseason when Draisaitl was injured against the Vancouver Canucks. They ended up loading Draisaitl with McDavid just to shelter Draisaitl until he could get healthy enough to center his own line once again. Connor McDavid, we know he has been one of the players that has been dealing with a flu bug. He was not at the skills competition yesterday in Edmonton. So I think for Draisaitl McDavid, I don't think that this is a permanent solution. I don't think this is a permanent thing that they're doing with the lineup. I would expect this lineup to look a little bit different and McDavid and Draisaitl to be completely separated after the Four Nations, after everyone gets healthy from whatever flu bug is going around. Plus, we don't know if there's injuries too, right? I don't like to speculate on that, but we all know, we've all seen Connor McDavid maybe not look his usual self. And his usual self is obviously like a tier above everyone else in the league. Connor McDavid is still very elite in his production right now, but he is a little off at the moment. So I think him and Draisaitl together, it's not the worst, especially if one of them is not 100% right now, just to shelter them and also give the team a opportunity to score some goals. But you do want to see goals from other players, including on the second line, Victor Arvidsson, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, and Zach Hyman. Now, Zach Hyman, he hasn't been putting the puck in the net at the same rate as he did last year. We obviously all knew that last year was probably an outlier in terms of his overall sustainability for those goals. But this season, he started off slow. He was hurt. He came back. He got red hot, but he has slowed down once again, and that's usually what happens with goal scorers, right? They usually slow down. They're hot and cold, and Zach Hyman, he does get cold. For him, Nugent-Hopkins and Victor Arvidsson, though, if that is your second line, they do have to produce. They have to spend a lot of time in the offensive zone. I don't think that this line is terrible, but I am looking for more from Victor Arvidsson personally. I'm someone that has been pretty lenient with Arvidsson all season because we know his injury history. We know what he's coming back from last season. Very similar situation to Connor Brown when he first joined the Oilers and how long it took for him to really find his game. And then once he did, he's been pretty good for the most part. But for Victor Arvidsson, the production's not there at the moment, and you need more. You need a little bit more, especially if he's going to remain in that top 6. And for Nugent Hopkins, his 5-on-5 production has not been nearly good enough. He does produce a little bit on the power play, which is good to see, and he has been getting better. I will say his 5-on-5 play has been getting better over the last few weeks, but you want to see it keep trending up. And if Draisaitl and McDavid aren't going to be the ones scoring goals, you need some goal scoring from some unlikely heroes. So hopefully that second line is able to produce against St. Louis. Third line, you had Jeff Skinner with Adam Henrique and Kasperi Kapanen, and I thought this was one of Edmonton's best lines against the Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm really happy that Chris Knoblauch seems to want to keep them together, and I'm really happy for Jeff Skinner that he is in the top 9 now instead of, the fourth line. He's now in the top 9, and he is trending up as well. He had a couple really good looks against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Probably could have had a goal or two, and for a player that has been as scrutinized as Jeff Skinner has been, it seems like from this coaching staff, it's nice to see him remain in that top 9 and play with players that have some skill, have some speed, and can maybe get him the puck. Kasperi Kapanen, I thought, had a really good game against Toronto. This is the makings of a really good third line, and I hope to see them contribute offensively. Adam Henrique has been nowhere near the offensive producer that we all thought he would be. I don't think any of us expected him to score 25 goals this season. We knew that his role heading into the season was third-line center, but as a third-line center, you still want to see some production. And for the player that he replaced, which is Ryan McLeod, you look at McLeod in Buffalo, he's got 12 goals. He's someone that penalty kills and does very well with that Sabres team. I'm not saying that McLeod would have done that with the Oilers, but the Oilers did give up some speed and some skill and a little bit of goal scoring, apparently, to keep Adam Henrique. Historically, Henrique has been the better producer, obviously. Ryan McLeod didn't produce that much with the Oilers, but as a third-line center, I want more from Henrique. I don't think he's been terrible, but I need more. On the fourth line, Vasily Podkolzin with Matthias Janmark and Connor Brown. Now, Janmark and Brown specifically, oh boy, these two players have really struggled over the last couple of weeks. Like, basically, as soon as Chris Knoblauch started talking about how good Connor Brown's season has been, and that one video that I made where Connor Brown, I talked about his points per 60 was like third on the entire team at 5-on-5, and then he was initially elevated to the top line. Connor Brown has like 1 assist in his last 12 or was it 1 point in his last 19 games or something? I can't remember what the stat is. Someone's going to have to stat check me on that or fact check me. He has not been producing at all. Connor Brown has really been struggling when it comes to sustaining offensive zone pressure. Yes, he's hit a couple posts, but him and Janmark, you need to see more, especially Janmark too. I don't like that Janmark is centering that fourth line. I don't think Janmark is comfortable in that center position. For Janmark, obviously fans will look at his production based on his salary and all this stuff. Listen, I get it. The penalty kill, that's great. But Janmark has been struggling lately. I still like him. Last year I was very hard on Janmark and Brown, and this year I've done a complete 180. I love both players. I keep talking about how if Connor Brown gets a hat trick, I'll buy his jersey. That is still something that I'm committed to doing, but I do want to see a little bit more from these two players. And Vasily Podkolzin, he is the Energizer Bunny on that fourth line. He'll bang bodies. Pause. He'll bang bodies, and he will also, do the dirty work and try and find guys who are open and get them the puck. And for Vasily Podkolzin, does he deserve to be on the fourth line? Probably not, but because his production has dipped too, I think Chris Knoblauch, he's just trying to find some balance here. He's trying to get some different looks before the Four Nations. We'll see if it works out. Noah Philp, of course, is the extra forward. He is likely going to be scratched against the Blues as well. Noah Philp, he's still earning that NHL paycheck as long as he's up with the team. So good for him. He's still learning the ropes at the NHL level. He was struggling when he was in the lineup, in my personal opinion. When he does get back in the lineup, I expect him to be much better, especially when it comes to the faceoffs. That was kind of his big weakness. He was losing key defensive zone draws and on the penalty kill where they're hoping to utilize him as a bottom 6 center for the team right now. So there's no worries with Philp, in my opinion, in terms of his development. I just think he needs a little extra time away from the actual in-game lineup. Work with the coaching staff, work at the NHL level, and then, of course, get ready to jump back in the lineup when he's called upon, which could be soon, depending if nobody produces. If you have Kapanen, Skinner, Bud Colson, Brown, or Janmark, or Henrique continue to put up zeros across the board against St. Louis, you might see Philp come back in the lineup. On defense, Matthias Ekholm, he is back. He was with Evan Bouchard, which is really good to see for Matthias Ekholm. The Oilers really did miss Ekholm, and it just really showed how much of a need a left shot D-man may be needed at the trade deadline, because if any of the Oilers left D get injured or are sick, Ekholm, Nurse, or Kulak, they don't really have extra depth to cover for that. I think their top-ranked player in the AHL that you would call up to play on the left side is Cam Dineen. And is he someone that you want in your NHL lineup regularly, especially in the playoffs, if for some reason one of your other left defensemen can't go? Probably not. So the Oilers, I think that is an area that they are likely looking to shore up by the trade deadline. Some form of number 6-7 D-man who can play on the left side and shoot left. Because the right side, with the addition of John Klingberg, is pretty solid at the moment. Bouchard, Stetcher, Emberson, and Klingberg, I trust all of them. Klingberg was the extra D-man at practice today. He has also been dealing with that flu bug that's been going around. So if he's not in the lineup against St. Louis, I don't think it's an indictment on his game. I thought he actually played pretty good against Toronto. Obviously, the offside, very unfortunate. We would have all loved to see a better outcome there when Draisaitl tied it. But for John Klingberg, for someone that has played basically no hockey since November of 2023. He's getting his timing back, and he's a player that will be beneficial later in the season and, of course, in the postseason when you need someone that can skate and move the puck up the ice. So that's good to see. Overall, I like the defensive pairs. I don't think Stetcher is your permanent second pairing right D either. But again, Nurse, Stetcher, they work pretty okay. Kulak, Emberson have been great all season long. And of course, Ekholm, Bouchard, top pair all season in Edmonton. In goal, you have Stuart Skinner with Calvin Pickard. And I just want to say something about Stuart Skinner, because in my video yesterday, number one, thank you for all of the feedback. Thank you for all of the comments. The goaltending in Edmonton is a very polarizing subject, and I knew the video that I was making yesterday was going to generate a lot of discussion, and I just want to thank everyone in the community for remaining cordial, respectful to everyone else in the community. Right? I don't care if you're all yelling at me and calling me names, as long as you're all being respectful to each other in the comments section. And as a community, we all want this team to win. We're all Oilers fans at the end of the day. And I just wanted to give a big shout out to all of you watching at home that engaged with that Stuart Skinner video and remained respectful and helped create a good discussion, a good dialogue, and something that we'll continue to talk about as the season progresses. Do I think the Oilers will actually go out and get a goaltender? Probably not. I think the team feels pretty comfortable in net, and I know a lot of fans are comfortable with the goaltending, and that's super fine. That's valid. I want Stuart Skinner to win a Stanley Cup at Edmonton. I want him to win the Conn Smythe. I want him to shut up all the haters, and I don't hate him, right? I'm not one of those people that thinks he's bad or anything. It's just a position where I think we understand when it comes to the playoffs, that pressure's pretty high. We just want this team to win so bad. Sometimes when the team is doing so good, fans do look for different things to just kind of pick at. At this point in the season, with where the Oilers are, tied for first in the Pacific, we are a little bit nitpicky with our criticism. So this is a very good hockey club. This is a very, very good hockey club. This is the best team that I have seen assembled. Oh, God, hitting my microphone again. This is the best team that I've seen assembled in my entire lifetime. And, it's nice that we can have these discussions. It's nice that I can sit in front of a camera, talk about different players, and have the community engage so wonderfully as you all have. So thank you all so much. As always, thank you for tuning in today as well. I truly appreciate it. Like I said, if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to hit that like button. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments section as well with regards to this lineup. What do you think needs to improve? What kind of targets do you think the Oilers should be going after for the trade deadline? And make sure to subscribe if you really enjoy this content, as I continue to do my best to produce for all of you at home, Oilers fans and hockey fans in general, because I know a lot of people that tune in, you're not just Oilers fans, and I truly appreciate that. I'm humbled by that support every single day. Make sure you tell some that you love them, and as always, fight like a kid, fight like Ben. Let's go Oilers.